I knew it! Guess I was right.
Stand for the national anthem. Ena mana, ena reo, ena karangatanga maha, tēnā koutou katoa. No mai haere mai ki Mount Albert Primary School te pā Ororangi. No mai haere nā ki a koe te tiramia, Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand. No mai haere mai ki Jonathan Bowe, Chairperson of the Board of Trustees, Louis Heap, Associate Principal, Sonia Davies, Deputy Principal, Co-Marion Caulfield, aho, ko te tupuaki o Mount Albert Primary School te pā Ororangi. Tēnā koutou katoa. It's indeed my pleasure to welcome all of you here today to celebrate Mount Albert Primary's sesquicentennial, our 150th birthday. And this tumultuous year, when none of us knew what was going to happen next wedding, even you, Prime Minister, when none of us knew whether this event would actually take place, today we are actually here. I'd particularly like to thank you for taking time away from your family on the weekend to spend some time with us. And it's been a good year for Jacinda, but this week when you've been sworn in for your second term with your cabinet is governing our country, congratulations, thank you, welcome. move on to the cake. Cake, we just don't want the icing to melt. We're going to have a tree, we're going to have a song, we're going to sing happy birthday, and then we will complete the formalities, and you will be invited, and it's not going to rain, and you will be invited to move on down to the afternoon tea tent if you have purchased a ticket, or to buy from one of the many food stalls, or to wander into the viewing point. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Jonathan Bowe, Chairperson of our Board of Trustees.
I'd like to start by reinforcing Schoolfield's welcome to you all here today. It's great to see so many students, staff, parents, and the wider community here with us to celebrate our 150 years. Now, our senior students have recently completed their speeches in their classrooms and in front of their wider syndicates. Today it's my turn to stand up here and be brave and give a speech in front of you. If I do muck up, don't worry, our next speaker has had quite a bit of practice. She'll put things right. Now the senior students got to choose their topic. I was given mine. Can I please cover 150 years history of the school? You might be alarmed about how long I'll stand here in front of you, but it is also strongly suggested that I do this in under 5 minutes. So I'll get cracking. My involvement with the school has been for a short 11 years when we moved into the area. So I have relied on this book, prepared in preparation for today. Celebrates the history of our school, available for only $15, all proceeds to the school. Now I can't cover all of the history of the school, so you'll forgive me for picking just a few highlights. Many of you know that the school hasn't always been present on the site. It started up the road in what is now known as School Road, and moved to this site in 1940. Imagine the scene back then, when instead of a short parade around the corner, the school walked the students down with all of the gear and equipment that they could carry. Some of the taonga from that time are here on our grounds. We have a fountain back there that commemorates one of the beloved teachers from the early 1900s who taught at the school for over 20 years. We have, of course, the honours board that sits in the back of the hall, newly refurbished, that commemorates the soldiers that fought in the First World War. And a plaque that commemorates one of our earlier principals. Since being here, we have, of course, added new layers to the building, new layers to the history of the school. This wonderful building behind me and the row of trees behind that are just a couple of examples. Perhaps a beloved one is the hall. The hall represented a huge fundraising effort on behalf of the school community. And Frank Bradley was instrumental in getting that hall built in time for the 100-year anniversary. But beyond the facts and figures that go through the history of the school, there were three themes that stood out to me. The first were the vast changes in the surrounding area, society and teaching practice over that time. We no longer need to keep a stock-proof fence to keep cattle out. The PTA no longer needs to harass the local board so that they will enforce the bylaw on goats. Gramophones have been replaced by iPads, and Seesaw is now available in the App Store, not the playground. Inside the classroom, instead of rows of tightly packed 60 to 70 students, you'll see much smaller classrooms, perhaps seeing students reclining in beanbags. No more caning. I know the students were particularly intrigued by this, the thought that their teacher could pick up a stick or a strap and lash out as part of some corrective management. Teachers and parents today are forced to reach for more effective behaviour management tools. The second theme for me was what has waxed and waned over the period of the school's history. Milk has come and gone, and it's back again. We now have garden to table, teaching the students cooking and gardening skills. We had a school pool and then we had one, and now we don't. Prime Minister, if you're still looking for shovel-ready projects, we have $1 million one ready to go. And who can forget an elusive, slow-moving, migratory species? They arrive unannounced on the school grounds sometimes. They can nest for vast periods, sometimes decades. They breed, they multiply, and occasionally disappear from the school entirely. I am, of course, talking about prefab classrooms. You might think this is a dig, but it's not. They're an effective tool to manage a fluctuating roll. The school has had as many as 800 students, as few as 200, and is back to 500 today. The last theme that really shouted off the pages was the presence of the community throughout the history of the school. Efforts to fundraise, advocate on behalf of the school, sometimes in exasperating tones for local officials. Sports gear, playground, classroom equipment. Today's fundraising list is much the same as 50 years ago. The negative view would be to see a ministry or government department that never quite delivers all that the school requires. The pragmatic view is one that sees that it is difficult to fund all that the school community needs and wants. The positive view, and one that I subscribe to, is that the school has long benefited from having a supportive local community. One that wants the very best for our children and continues to push for improvement in school. 2020 has shown us just how interconnected we are around this world. It has equally shown us the greatest value and importance of our local community. And our schools continue to get very hard at it. Once again, thank you for all that you've done and continue to do to make the school what it is, and for helping our students be the best they can be. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora, malohi, namaste, ni hao, and assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and join you all here today, and to the principal and your board of trustees, chair, and all of the leadership within the school. Thank you for having me. I don't hold great faith in the weather. Somehow I always seem to attract being rained on. I don't take it personally. But I'll try to keep things brief, not least for you, but for the tamariki who have been so patient over here and over here. My job for an allocated 5 minutes was really to just say a word of thanks to the school community, and that is not a hard job to do at all. Whilst I was not a member of this school, I grew up in a little place called Murupara and then moved to a little town called Morrinsville. I still remember a lot about my time in primary school. It was where I learned to properly write. It was where I learned to form a love of reading through a huge number of school journals. It was where I learned how to play team sports, and that anything that involved a ball larger than a netball wasn't really for me. I still to this day have no hand-eye coordination really to speak of. And I learned all of that from Mrs. Bean, Miss Barr, Mrs. Lord, Mrs. Lelich, a string of teachers' names that I still remember to this day. In fact, some days I would struggle to tell you what day of the week it is, but I can still tell you every single one of my primary school teachers. And that is because of what they instill in us. Physical environments, yeah, they're important and they matter, and we need to make sure that our schools have high quality places for our children to learn. But ultimately it's the people within them that I've found make all of the difference. And so to anyone in this space today, be you a parent who's been involved with the PTA or on the Board of Trustees, be you a teacher who has been a past teacher at this school or present, thank you for what you've done to contribute to the 150 years of this school. You will have produced tradespeople, accountants, lawyers, journalists, doctors, nurses, and I hope you've generated more than one teacher to go on and keep making a difference to the lives of our tamariki. So to all of you, my sincere thanks for what you do for our community, and happy birthday. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
So Flocks, who we love because they're not stressed out there, had just illustrated what came to me too. And thank you to me for me to do that. Fortunately for us, Flocks has now illustrated another book, Too Many Tuatara, which I hope you have got it, because we're giving it to you both today and to your family and hope you enjoy reading it. Thank you for being here. Often quoted Māori proverb that goes, He aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tangata. What is the most important thing in the world? It is people, it is people, it is people. In schools, of course, as Jonathan and Julie Jacinta have referred to, are all about people. And as Jacinta has also said, all of us sitting here, including our lovely students, are able to tell each other who was our favourite teacher, or not, who we learned what from, why some of us are teachers. Schools are places of learning. As teachers, we teach students, we teach each other. The students teach students, they teach us, and together we get to influence the future. Schools are precious places, comprised of precious individuals. And I wish to acknowledge all the individuals here today. Somebody who started at our school in 1936. Children who started at our school last week. Most of you here, most of you who come to the school will know that people are acknowledged here. Mr. Whittam, one of the principals, his family gave a marble memorial that's at the front gate. The family of Emily de Montague gave the water fountain, and I do need to thank Simon Vanderhyde for restoring the functionality of that water fountain, and it's amazing that it's still working today. Frank Gregley, as Jonathan talked about the chairperson of the school committee we built the hall, earned himself the honour of having his name on the hall. It's called the Frank Gregley School Hall. Could actually go on quite a long time about staff and students. However, there is one person I would like to talk to you about today. Somebody who has a long-term connection with Mount Albert Primary School. And that's you, Sonia Davis. Didn't bother telling Sonia because she wouldn't let me say this. Sonia has been a student at Mount Albert Primary School. Of all the things that she learned at Mount Albert Primary School, she chose, after going to Auckland Girls' Dinner, to become a teacher. And after some time returned to the young school in excess of 20 years ago, and fortunately for us, he has never left. Sonia is a real example of a learner, of a successful learner. She has been a teacher, she is still a teacher. She is a leader in our school, and still has the opportunity to influence children, staff, and community. And I think it's really special that here today, you have done a lion's share of the work for this event, put all of this together because it means so much to you. I know your family are here, I know Auntie Sarah's here, and I know how proud your family are of you and your children. And I salute you on those achievements, Sonia, because this is a very special day. Not many schools are 150 years old, by the way, including that great big Mount Albert Rama down the road there, a couple of years behind us. We have been here for a long time, and you have been an integral part in the development of our know you enjoyed being here as a student because you've talked to me about it. I know you've enjoyed being here as a leader, and I salute the wonderful contribution you have made. Trust me, it's been the best for me. It's something we're all working on every day. Some days it goes quite well, some days it goes really slow. And I acknowledge you for what you have given to us. It's lovely little painting flowers and a brief acknowledgement from the community. Formalities are a very important part, and I would like to ask the students who are going to give out flowers and gift bags to come and stand beside me. I've got them down there. If you attended Mount Albert Primary School in the 30s or 40s, would you either stand up or would you just raise your hand if you don't want to stand up? There are a number of you here. There you go. Some of these gentlemen were here yesterday. So while you're giving Jonathan and the little ones a huge round of applause, they can open the curtains and unveil the card. Miriam, who started school here in 1986, and Ada, who started school here quite recently in this country, to come and cut the school together. Perhaps we can sing Happy Birthday while worshipping. Just a minute. 1, 2, 3. I think we might ask the students to sing our whānau kia koe. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Next, Cinder and Jonathan and Sonia and Chloe and I are going to come down there to where those children are in Nurambini, and then we're going to cut right in front of you because there's a tree behind you that we're going to plant together.
Arbor Day.
So, thank you for your wonderful attention. I hope you've enjoyed our formal part of the proceedings. Before we move to the more informal part of the afternoon, I would just like to say one more huge thank you to Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern for coming to join us today. Please give me here. So, as I said, the rest of the afternoon will be a bit more informal. We've got lots of action down on the field, so there are